Hello, welcome to Sociology of Cars podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy XAE. You're listening to the 10th episode brought to you by 0 to 60 Studios in San Dimas, California. The 10th episode. Today in the studio, we have two young entrepreneurs, Nate and Will, who are also first-time Porsche owners. I am so grateful to have you both in the studio today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. That music is magical.
Of course. For the national audience who may not know you guys, Will, what should they know about you, really briefly?
My name's Will, and I work really, really hard for the things that I want, which mostly revolve around cars.
What about you, Nate?
My name is Nate, and I love driving.
So what was that initial trigger point like for you, Will, when you say, wow, cars are cool, I might want to get into it?
So I've always enjoyed observing cars, looking at them and seeing them, hearing them. Every aspect of it's always been interesting to me. Right at the very end of high school, I had a family friend who let me graciously drive his Porsche Cayman around for 6 months. He didn't enjoy it. It was just sitting there. And I really, really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the feeling that I got when people saw me in it and the different ways that I got treated because I had it. Through that, I'm like, I need to work really, really hard so that I can have one of these for myself.
And that was the age of?
17 or so. I'm 23 now. I'll be 24 in about a week.
What was your trigger point like, Nate, when you first say, wow, cars are cool, I might want to get into this?
Honestly, it was Hot Wheels cars. So when I was a kid, before I could read, it was Hot Wheels. And then I started reading car magazines. So always been an avid reader, and car magazines was like my real entry into cars.
Will, can you list all of the cars that you've owned so far?
Oh, my goodness. So my first car, I had to chop a bunch of firewood for my dad, and took me 3-4 weeks of every day just chopping the firewood. I got a red 1999 Nissan Frontier. Right towards the end of high school, my parents got me a Honda Accord for my 18th birthday. I had it for about 9 months, and then I'm like, I'm going to trade this in and buy an Alfa Romeo. So I bought an Alfa Romeo Stelvio. My dad co-signed for it, but obviously it was my payments and everything like that, and it really taught me that you got to work to make your payments. And after that one, the car market was really, really hot at that time. It was during COVID. So I bought myself a Tesla Model 3, and to this day, I still regret it. My mom drives it. I gave it to her. I'm like, I can't hear it. I don't like it. This is crazy. What am I doing? What did I waste my money on? So after the Tesla, I had that and the Alfa at the same time. My girlfriend was driving the Alfa. I ended up selling it. Drove the Tesla around for a little bit because I was driving 100, 150 miles a day. It worked out financially. I'm like, I need to leave this tech sales job. I was making 120 to 150 grand a year or so. I'm like, that's not enough. I need to start my own business. So I started my own business, did the first season of Christmas lights, and made about 40 grand profit or so, and took 25 grand and bought my first Porsche. It's a 2005 Boxster S.
Nate, what are all the cars that you've owned so far in your lifetime?
So I started off taking the bus to high school, like the public bus. And then I ended up writing I really wanted a car. So I used to write papers for people in college. So I wrote people's final papers and their midterm papers, had different prices for different grades. So I knew what an A paper was, I knew what a B paper was, and people paid accordingly. So with that money, second semester, freshman year of college, I bought a Infiniti G37S. Manual Infiniti, just got a straight pipe exhaust for that thing. It set car alarms off as soon as I drive past a bunch of cars. And then I moved on to a Mark 7 GTI, 2-door, manual. Also loved that car. It was a much more like tossable, fun, and practical car. So that took me through the rest of college. After that, actually concurrently, I bought an ND Miata. So 6-speed ND Miata, ND1, I guess. 2016, that was the year.
Finally, a real car.
Yeah. And that car really showed me what sports cars and like real driving was about. So I thought those two cars were really fun. And then I ended up with the ND. And that was just like a whole different level of engagement and like real driving. So went on a lot of drives in that car. I had the GTI at the same time. Didn't drive the GTI for the whole year, basically. It would feel like driving a minivan, jumping into the GTI from the Miata. So COVID happened. I bought a house, and I kind of fell into the overlanding craze. Also needed something to haul construction equipment with. So I bought a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. That was probably one of the most fun cars I've ever had. It still is to this day. Like, I want one again. Just the idea of off-roading is really fun, even though it doesn't actually happen that often, because it's just so much work to actually do it. And then I bought an FL5 Civic Type R, had it for less than a day, and an old lady crashed into it head on, totaled it, broke my wrist, and waited a month or two and ended up finding this Boxster GTS. And here I am, a 2016 Boxster GTS.
Blessing in disguise.
Absolutely. Silver linings and everything, for sure. Yeah.
So what is the reason why that both of you got into a Porsche in the first place?
I feel like a Porsche is like the end goal for a lot of people. And I'm pretty impatient in a sense. And I feel like we're probably both the same way, starting business and whatnot. It kind of comes with that. But I felt like the Boxster S was the most value I could get for 25 grand. Like most Camrys and Corollas, you can't even get a new one for that. So if I took my 25 grand and bought one of those, like no one would care. It wouldn't get me into the situations with other Porsche owners. And
so what I'm hearing you say is a lot of it is for the vanity reasons.
Yeah, definitely.
To appear to be a certain way. But of course, it also drives better than a Camry.
Of course. It sounds good. It looks good. And it handles canyons much better than a Camry.
Right. So even though you bought it, part of it is for belongingness, but you also enjoy driving the car. So it's like a win-win.
For sure. Yeah. It's everything you could want from a car for 25 grand.
Right.
Like, you're not going to get that anywhere else for 25 grand.
So what about you, Nate? Why did you buy your Porsche in the first place?
Well, after getting in my first car accident, I wanted something more visceral. So I ended up looking at BMW M2s. So again, something more visceral, something more of like a experience, I guess, so to speak. So I ended up finding an M2 CS. So just like you, value oriented. So I'm like, okay, I want a car that doesn't appreciate that much. Found an M2 CS manual with a Akrapovic exhaust. It was like 80,000. So I thought that was a good price. It had like 5,000 miles on it. I was excited about the car, but then having driven two BMW M2s before that, I was kind of coming into it like, you know what, like I didn't actually like the M2s. So I drove the base original OG M2 with the N55 engine with the manual. I thought that like the suspension was a bit rough and it didn't feel like that special enough, I guess. Felt too much like a 2 Series. And then I drove the M2 competition with the DCT. That car definitely had more like of an engine. So it had like an actual M engine in it. So really powerful, really fun to drive. But I kept coming back to my Miata and thinking that like neither of these cars are more fun than my Miata. I was still excited about the CS because all the car reviewers are just waxing lyrical about this car, that it's like the best BMW that's ever been made. It drives so well. It solves all the problems of the M2 competition. I ended up thinking that like this car isn't that much worth it over an M2 competition. It's about $30,000 to $40,000 more for an equivalent car. So I ended up finding, while I had my deposit on my M2, I ended up finding my Boxster GTS on AutoTrader and literally checked. It had every single like option that I could have possibly spec'd this car with had I gotten it new. And
to make it fun.
To make it fun. And it was cheaper than the M2 CS. Oh. So I was like, well, I mean, this might be more exactly what I'm looking for. More of an experience, a better value, and something that I could really enjoy for less money.
Got it. So it's more about the driving experience.
Exactly.
Are there any part of you that wanted it like to be the brand name, the belongingness?
I mean, absolutely, but I don't think I came into it thinking that, like wanting that. I kind of just wanted a car that I was feeling a lot of FOMO, obviously after having been in a car accident, wasn't able to drive for 2 months. I just wanted like, okay, let me have all the car driving experiences I can before cars go electric and we don't have like visceral, exciting cars anymore. And I really feel like this Boxster GTS is like the perfect intersection of like a modern car, but still visceral, analog, all that.
And it's still not too expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not
it
overly
was
expensive.
at one point.
It was at one point
but
for
they
sure.
don't depreciate very much at all.
Not at all. And
Like, they're very reliable. I've heard great things about them all the way up to 120,000 miles.
absolutely.
BMW has all the turbos and all the like electronics and whatnot. I feel like it's less of a raw car. Like the Porsche, you can feel it's that naturally aspirated, super raw motor.
100%. Yeah.
Which
So
is your
now,
driving.
so now the real question is, has owning a Porsche changed your lives in some ways?
Owning a Porsche was like one of my biggest significant changes in my life for sure. It changed my mindset. And there's a lot of people that talk about how you shouldn't buy a car until you're financially set. I feel like buying that car made me want to work hard to, one, keep that car, two, get something better, and three, build something so that I could own more of these cars for the rest of my life.
Even though it's only 28 grand, you said it's like the price of a Camry, but it's still, because it's a Porsche,
Exactly.
it reminds you that I have something nice.
Exactly.
Wow.
And like it makes me want to take care of it, you know. I'm one of those people, like, I don't really take great care of my stuff, but when I get something that expensive, that nice, and then there's also that stigma, like you should be taking really good care of it, I take really good care of it. So it was like a growing moment for myself as well in many different ways.
Got it. So it's like inspiration for you.
For sure, yeah.
What
It's like everything I'd wanted. And obviously now it's kind of transitioned over since I got my new car. It's the next step for me. But I'll go back to it and I'll drive it every once in a while too.
What about the community of Porsche?
So that's a loaded question. I mean, sure, it gets you in, but there's a lot of people that are in that Porsche community that see a Boxster and they're like, you can get the fuck out.
Which we'll unpack a little bit later on this episode.
Yeah.
I think that off air, you were also telling me that some business deals came from you parking your Porsche outside of a restaurant.
For sure.
Tell us more about that.
People always come up and talk to you based on it. Like one of my clients, I probably, between his work and the work that he's referred to us, we've probably made 60 grand profit off of those jobs, which essentially paid for my new car just off someone telling me that my car looked good and starting that conversation. Like would have never talked for any other reason.
Wow. And this is outside of a restaurant?
Yeah, it was at Genwa Korean Barbecue in Beverly Hills. And the valet took the car, put it right in front of the restaurant. He had no idea it was cheaper than every single other car that he took around the block. But because it was right there, some loaded guy walked out of the restaurant, said, "That's sweet. I had one of those too," and started a big change in my life.
Got it. What about you, Nate? Has owning a Porsche changed your life in some ways?
Absolutely. First of all, I really love your perspective about how inspiring it is to own a Porsche even at a young age. And I would encourage any of the younger viewers out there, if you're thinking about getting a Porsche, go for it. Let it inspire you. But
Make you more than it costs.
yeah, 100%. In some similar ways for me too. Again, before I had the Porsche, I had a Jeep that just used to haul construction equipment. And so I bought a house in 2021. So 28 years old, buying a house, that was like a major, major life goal. Very humbled by being able to have had that happen at such a young age. Great timing, yes. Despite being so humbled by achieving that at such a young age, I would say that getting the Porsche felt like more of like a life goal achieved.
Isn't that interesting?
It's kind of crazy, yeah. So like, I guess maybe it's just because I'm a car guy, so like cars are the ultimate symbol of success to someone who just loves cars. Every time I'd see it in my garage, every time I'd like sit behind the wheel and just see the badge, hear the engine like behind me, just that flat six and everything, you just feel special. You feel like $1 million, honestly. Like it's really hard to describe until you've been in the car. And I mean, even if you don't own it, just driving someone's Porsche, You get to feel that.
They always say if you park your car and you don't look back at it when you walk away, you don't have the right car.
Exactly.
And you can't not look back at it.
Oh, you can't. You can't.
So it's like an inspiration. Like you started to see yourself differently. You started to have a different outlook on life.
100%. I felt more successful, even though buying the house is like, financially speaking, a significantly much bigger achievement. It was like, I could have bought like a GZ3 RS or bought a house.
Yeah.
Bought the house, and still this 981 Boxster just like makes me feel, and maybe had I bought the GC3 RS and not the house, maybe I wouldn't feel the same way versus like already having the house secured and then having this Porsche. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know, man. It's
What about-
something about just getting a Porsche.
I personally don't like feeling secure. I don't do well when I'm comfortable. Like the past 3 months, I've made more money than I've ever seen before. And my company's scaled to a point where I'm rather hands off with a lot of things. And I don't know what to do with myself during the day when I'm not out working on the job sites or knocking doors and stuff. And I've just started to feel comfortable, and I look at myself as lazy and whatnot. I hate the feeling, so if I bought a house and at some point had a house paid off, I would never feel like my back's up against a wall, which is what really makes me go.
100% with you on that. As an entrepreneur, by the way, I think I missed this, but what is your company, by the way?
We do like window cleaning, pressure washing.
Oh, nice.
And then we do a bunch of Christmas lights. So I have 3 Christmas light companies, one in Thousand Oaks, one in Pasadena where we're all based out of, and then one down in San Diego.
Amazing.
The lights on 900 houses last year.
So love to hear that.
So
Amazing.
Nate, has your life changed in like socially because of your car?
Absolutely. So before I had the Porsche, I was that guy that would just churro a car and go up to Good Vibes and just like beat the hell out of it. And it's like, would I rather go to Disneyland or rent a car for $200 and just destroy it up in the mountains? So that was me. I'd like rent a car maybe like once a month or so, trying a bunch of different cars. And I did meet a lot of people through that, but I didn't feel like I was necessarily part of a community. I would go to Good Vibes Breakfast Club, which is a great community in and of itself, meet a lot of friends through that, but didn't feel like I was part of like an actual community. Then I got the Porsche and opportunities to go on drives, tons of group chats, like so many different like actually involving things happened. And I feel like I can't even keep up with the opportunities of things to do. Now there's just too many things to do.
So
that I have this Porsche.
people want to be friends with you because now you have a Porsche.
I guess, yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's other people with the Porsche because you can't, like the people, I'm big into thinking that each group of types of cars, like JDM guys, American muscle guys, exotic guys, like they all have similar mindsets. And that's kind of what puts them into these specific groups. So like once you're in that group, you meet people with similar mindsets to yourself and you can grow with them, and you can usually find a couple mentors per se.
100%. Yeah.
You can get a lot of good advice from people who think the same way as you and are in a similar position to you.
So by that logic, wouldn't you say that you can have the same communal experience if you had owned a BMW rather than a Porsche?
It's a different group. The car that you have kind of obviously determines your group because you hang out with people with the same cars. But the car that you buy, I feel like you buy a car for the same reasons that the other people who bought the same car bought that car. So you meet people that are like directly in line with how you feel.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong about this. I don't have too much experience, but
I agree with you. I would say, frankly speaking, to that point, the Porsche group just has more entrepreneurs like you and me.
yeah.
I've seen all the different kinds of car groups, and I would say the Porsche group is more diverse also. So you'll get a lot of people who are just like entrepreneurs, doctors, regular person who just loves cars, bought a Boxster S or a 911 or whatever. There's like a huge variety of Porsche owners, which I really like. And I think that kind of like makes the experience a little bit more open, I guess, than like maybe BMW if you don't have the M badges on, then you might not be.
Or if you have more letters after the number.
Right.
Oh shoot, then I'm screwed.
You're
because
screwed, Jimmy.
I just got a brand new BMW 230i. I think I'm on the bottom of the ladder.
But it's purple. It's so sick. It's
Purple.
different.
It's got the M badges.
I got the base Corvette, but it's green, so I'm different. That's what matters.
Right, and mine is a M230. I'm just kidding.
It will be when you put the sticker on there.
Yeah. So, Will, the story of you parked, in front of a restaurant and somebody was talking to you about your Boxster. Had you had a $100,000 M3, do you think somebody would talk to you and you would have the same story?
I feel like everybody has a $100,000 M3. I feel like it's a glorified family car. Everybody says that I can't have these thoughts about the cars until I've driven one, which I agree with. I need to go drive one at some point. They say it's the best driving experience you can have. But I feel like if I'm driving around an M3, people who don't know cars, like, they don't respect it at all unless they also have one,
They said that M3 is the best driving experience you could have?
Well, any M car,
Okay.
BMW, like I've never even driven a BMW in general.
Yeah.
People say BMWs they handle the best and everything. And I'm like, I've driven a lot of cars that handle really well, given I don't drive hard or like go to the track or anything yet. But I feel like I do need to drive one before I judge. But just from the social aspect of things, if I'm driving an M3 around down, let's say, Old Town Pasadena or Santa Monica or Beverly Hills, like, no one's going to turn their head. But a green Corvette that costs $30,000 less, that's different, everybody's going to look at it, which is important to me.
Isn't that interesting? So it's not really the price, but it's like there's a mystique. There's an emotional reason behind it.
It's the efficiency. It's the value of what you're getting. Like, I paid $70,000 for a car that had a sticker price of $97,000 when there's the Z06 that has a sticker price of $170,000. And most people, like 99% of the world, have no idea what the difference is between the two.
Right.
So it's like you can pay $70,000 for the same experience you're going to get in 90% of your interactions versus spending double, per se, and getting the same results. Hence the $25,000 Boxster S. I got results of a $70,000 car for $25,000.
100%.
So $25,000 for a Boxster, that you have versus a $100,000 BMW M3. Which one would get more attention? Which one do you think people are more inclined to talk to you outside of a restaurant?
It depends on the group of people. You'll get different attention for sure. The BMW is going to attract attention from, I think, younger people who like want to be something that they're not. I don't like to say it, but then the Porsche is going to get you attention from the people you really want to talk to that know what they're talking about. I feel like the Porsche is like this, no matter what it is, like the Porsche is like the symbol that you made it,
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you said. I feel like most people just see the Porsche badge, no matter the price of Porsche, and it does mean something.
If it's after 2004, you look at a 2004 or older, they're like, that's not even a Porsche. It's
Right.
MR2.
Unless it's like a classic 911, right? So there's like almost...
Yeah, there's like a gap between like
Maybe
1995 to 2004 where it was just like, it's not classic and it's also just old and cheap. And
It also
whatnot.
like depends on like the condition of your Porsche.
For sure.
Right? If you have like, honestly, like even if you have a very clean 986 Boxster, it's super clean, I think people would still... People that don't know,
So, Nate, if you didn't buy the Porsche and you bought an M3, would you have the same life outlook and feel as motivated and feel like $1 million?
I think I still have like a very strong level of personal motivation outside of the car. So I don't think it would have mattered. It still just feels really nice to get behind the wheel of the Porsche,
Bigger car payment over there for sure.
Yeah, mostly. And truthfully, before I got my Porsche, like I said, I almost got an M2 CS. I was looking at M cars. Not to hate on BMW. I think BMWs are phenomenal cars, and I still think that like as a one-car solution, it's an amazing car. But if you are jumping from a Porsche, which is a dedicated sports car, into an M2, you're going to feel a big difference in engagement.
I 100% agree, like completely. The fact that if you're going to have one car and you've got a kid or something like that, M3, M5, like do it. Yeah. Like if you can't have an SUV and a Porsche, because Porsche is not functional.
Yeah, and I thought I could daily my Boxster. Within the first few days of driving it around LA, I was like, no, I can't daily this thing. It's not really about like the daily ability, but it's mostly about other drivers in LA. So I live in West LA. People are very impatient. There's traffic. There's a lot of dips in the road that I have to slow down for. And a few too many times I almost got rear-ended. So within a couple weeks, I ended up getting a daily.
So in traffic, they're not super fun. Like the clutch is bumpy, you know, like, well, I guess you drive manual, so you have more control over it. But in an automatic, it's that first gear when it hits and like when you're braking and then it's shifting into gear, it's not fun to be in traffic. So I get you.
Yeah.
I'm in Pasadena and it's pretty wide open over there between the freeways and the big streets and stuff. So I daily the Porsche or the Corvette, but I also have 6 trucks for the business that I can take if I need to.
Perfect.
The girlfriend has a RAV4, so.
Right.
Nice.
You know, I just find it really funny that some people, right, they're so passionate about their Porsches. You almost wonder if they get a cut if you buy a Porsche. They always say, oh, you should just, get a Porsche, daily it. That's your only car. Drive the shit out of it. I'm like, is this guy like a secret Porsche salesman? And then when you get your Porsche, it's like nobody dailies it, right? Like, I mean, even you you have multiple cars. So technically it's not your daily.
There's a lot of people that daily it.
Really?
Yeah, I see 911s in the same spot every single day. When I go to the gym in the morning, it's there. When I leave the gym, it's there. And nobody goes to the gym for more than 2 hours every single day.
Right. I think a 911 is for sure more dailyable.
Maybe not a Boxster. Yeah. Well, but the thing is, it's going to be very expensive because maintenance is higher. So if you can afford it, why not?
I just think it's not worth it to spend 150 grand on a base 911 that sounds like a vacuum cleaner. Like, get a GT4 or something. But if you're going to daily it, like, yeah, the 911's kind of the move.
Right. So are there any part of your Porsche ownership that surprised you, that was a little bit different from your expectation, or that you did not see coming?
I was expecting higher maintenance costs, knock on wood. I haven't really had any issues, and it's been 15,000 miles. I just had to do the brakes, which weren't as crazy as expensive as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like $4,000. That's what the dealership quoted me, but someone did them for $1,800 for all 4 brakes. And I'm like, if you know the right people that do good work, like, it's not going to be that crazy maintenance cost. But it's also kind of what turned me off of getting the 991 Turbo S. That was a 2015 or something like that. If one of those turbos blows, it's 20 grand.
Wow.
40,000 miles, no warranty. Like, if you have an expensive car that you couldn't afford to just replace tomorrow as like your main expensive car, you can't get something that you don't want to fix. But a $25,000 Boxster, like, if the transmission went out, I'd just probably get rid of it or commit insurance fraud or something like that. My thing is, I never want to be seen in my not best car. Like, I want people to always see the best version of myself. Like, I don't want to drive a truck around unless it's my business wrap truck or something like that. I don't want to drive the RAV4. I don't even really want to drive the Porsche anymore because the Corvette just makes me feel better. It turns more heads. It's faster. I feel more in control of it.
I love my Porsche so much right now that I'm like, I think I want to keep that and then get like a nicer daily.
So, well, you recently wrapped your CA Corvette to what color again?
It's like a matte titanium green. They did it here at 0 to 60. They did a really good job on it. Gave me a good deal too.
Looks fantastic.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's cool. It looks like, reminds
better
me of like
than
the Green Goblin kind of.
That's what everybody says. And
Yeah.
it's like it's way better than the midlife crisis black that a lot of people have.
Yeah. Especially if you want to be seen.
Yeah, it's
That
like, I
green,
want to
it's
turn
like-
heads.
For sure.
Green car that most people don't know it's a Corvette and think it's like a Lambo or McLaren or something, it's going to get a lot more attention.
Do you also get the same business opportunities like that Boxster did?
It's different. So you kind of attract different people. You attract more people that are more like looking at it rather than like respecting it, if that makes sense. Sure, most of them like have respect for it and whatnot, but I'm sure that a lot of like the people that are like the Porsche Ferrari owners that are very rich look at it as like, oh, this kid's just trying to be flashy. He's wasting his money, which I've kind of started to not care about because I really like it that much.
Got it. So I think that's a segue to a little break. When we come back, exactly what makes the Porsche community so special, a detailed breakdown of all of the subgroups within the Porsche community. You're listening to Sociology of Cars podcast. This is Jimmy XIE. Hey, Nate and Will, let me tell you more about our sponsor 0 to 60 Studios in San Dimas, California. So the studio we're in right now is actually for rent. Right next door, we have a printing studio. Downstairs, we have a 1,000 square foot sim racing studio, state of the art. Right next door, we have a lounge. And then Joe and Chris do their PPF, vinyl, tinting in their auto lab. And then we also have AutoWorks. We also do AutoWorks now. On Friday, we have canyon runs. Nowadays, we also have after dark Friday meets. So you can host your birthday party, private events, car meet at this facility. I mean, what does 0 to 60 not do for car enthusiasts? This is like a one-stop shop. And most importantly though, outside we have large wide parkings, so your car can be really protected. Well, can you say something about 0 to 60? What is your impression of it?
I met them about a month and a half ago or so, and within 2 weeks, I just knew that they were really, really good at what they do. They were so knowledgeable, and they ended up PPFing and wrapping my brand new Corvette. So
Wow, it looks amazing.
it's great. I couldn't be happier with the guys.
Right. Nate, when you first walked in today, what did you think?
Well, I saw Will's Corvette and it looked like they did a really good job on it for sure, but super cool multi-purpose space and very cool cars in the garage.
And the ambiance is just a little majestic. We're hiding in a little corner right here.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Wonderful. So go to 0 to 60 on Instagram for more details. Come check it out and nobody gets hurt. Wow, Nate and Will, I think you guys are so convincing in sharing your insight. Now you're making me want my own Porsche now. So can you give me a very detailed breakdown on what makes the Porsche community so unique and so niche exactly?
Well, in the short amount of time that I've been a Porsche owner, it's been very diverse. I was actually thinking about the same thing that you mentioned earlier about having a Boxster and like, would people accept me having a Boxster? And so far, I have been accepted just fine. Shout out to those of you who have accepted me. I like driving with GT4 RSs and Boxster Spiders and stuff.
So what I'm hearing you both say is it's not about whether or not you can find a community, but it's more about what kind of community you want to find with your cars. If you drive a BMW, it's a certain community, but Porsches is another type of community.
Yeah.
I've only been to one Porsche-specific event ever in my Porsche. I brought it to a classic Cars and Coffee, which is a bunch of older guys that have beautiful, like restored 911 SCs, like the 356s and all that kind of stuff. I parked down the street because I didn't feel like I was going to fit in. And everybody's like, oh, well, where's your car? And I'm like, oh, it's the Boxster S down the street, and you could see it over there. It's the blue one. It's like, why didn't you park in the show area? And I'm like, why would I do that? It's not a classic one. They're like, oh, what do you mean? It's cool. Like, you have a Porsche. Like, you want to be part of the group. Like, it's not a problem. So I don't know if they're all like that. I haven't experienced Porsche people being cliquey or anything like that. So I've only experienced them being very accepting and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I've heard a lot about how they can be. But maybe I haven't thought about it deep enough where that's coming from the people that don't have Porsches that think that that's what it's going to be. So I've driven really nice Porsches as well. And when you're in one of those and you see another Porsche, like, people will wave at you. I have noticed that in my Boxster, people in 911s and whatnot, they won't even look at you or anything. But in a Corvette, it's been everybody waves at everybody, no matter how old it is, whatever. I could be completely wrong that this is like the most important thing, but I think that owning a Porsche isn't about driving fast and idiotic on a street, but the BMW community, like, that's the main thing around it. Like, you're not there to show off how cool your car looks and whatnot. It's about how stupid you can be on the road. You'll rarely see a Porsche, whether it's a cheap one or a super expensive one, you'll rarely see somebody doing something stupid in traffic. Like, it's more of like a mature, humble kind of thing rather than I'm so flashy, I'm loud, my car makes gunshots, I weave through traffic like crazy.
Right. Now you think about it, you don't really hear a lot of 911s making the popping sound. That's not really the point.
They sound like shit, honestly. The only one is a 911T, and if you add an exhaust to it. But that's part of why I wouldn't spend $150,000 on a base 911 with not even 400 horsepower. Sounds like a vacuum cleaner.
So you want something with more sensations.
Yeah. I mean, it comes back down to it again. It's the value. Like, the most important thing is, I mean, you get looks, you get the sound, and you get the performance. I haven't driven a base 911, so I can't speak to the performance. Obviously, 911s look great. I personally prefer the way that the 718 spec looks just because of the vents on the side. So until you get to the turbos or the GT cars, like, I think the 911, I just don't like not having the vents on the side. I feel like it's too big of a space, and it's a hot take for sure, but
So recently we've got a mysterious influencer named Funded Trust who kind of combined the BMW characteristics with Porsche, drifting Porsche around Koreatown and driving well above a triple digit number on a certain canyon road, which is kind of interesting. And this person did get a lot of attention. So which makes me think that maybe the better way to become an influencer is to combine both BMW community and Porsche community. Nate, what do you think of that?
I 100% agree. I think he's doing pretty well for himself for what he's trying to do, I guess. I think Porsches, when it comes to a car like a GT3 RS, especially the 992 with like how aggressive it looks, I mean, to me, at that price range, there are a few cars that, even though the doors don't go up, like, it looks like a cup car. Like, there are a few cars that like bring that much attention. And even though his is like completely all matte black, when you see that thing like coming behind you or you see it in videos, it just looks so aggressive.
just the wing.
The wing, yeah. It's the body work. Like, it's just a very aggressive, attention-grabbing car for sure.
Would you say that when you see a 3RS show up, it's like, boom, like the party just shuts down?
Arguable. Because I've been at car shows where people are looking more at like the Ferraris and whatnot, because the 3RS for a lot of people is like, oh, it's still just a Porsche. Like, some people look at, even just because it's a Ferrari, even if it's like a Ferrari California, it could be considered better than some high-end Porsche just because it's a Ferrari. No, I mean, obviously it's a showstopper, but you also see a lot of them at the car shows. Like, you go to a car show and you see like 5 like completely the same GT3 or GT3 RSs, because if you're spending $450,000, like, you want that kind of clean, true Porsche look. The Weissach package, like black and white, is very common. But then you get into the Lamborghinis and whatnot, and they have all these different cool colors and so many intricacies. But you just see a line of GT3s and GT2s, and it's just like, oh, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste,
Right.
you know?
I love how like every kind of categories of cars like Porsches, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, they all pack in like a certain set of expectations and emotions. So would you say that the Lamborghini or Ferrari ownership community that you've observed kind of match the same expectation and experience of Porsches?
No, not by any means whatsoever.
Tell me more.
I feel like if you buy a GT3 RS, you're like a successful, humble guy, and you always have something else. You know, you have a GT3 RS and X, Y, and Z. If you have a Lamborghini, it's like you might just have that one Lamborghini. And I'm sure it's different in all different scenarios, but that's just kind of what I've observed, is like a GT3 RS is like an addition to a collection that you don't really drive very often. I mean, you can be looking to be flashy, but it's not really you're looking to be flashy. You just want that Porsche experience at the highest possible level you can have it.
You can buy a $150,000 Lambo Huracan that was formerly a rental and take it to a restaurant or just drive around in it, and people will think that you were way more successful than like the guy who has a $400,000 GT3 RS.
I feel like the RSs are flashy enough. It's the GT3s, like without the RS, that's like you want a high-end Porsche, but like you don't care about what people think. It's like the best of the best minus the flashiness. And especially like the GT3 Touring. Like, I don't know why anybody would spend $300,000 on a car and then not have it be as flashy as possible, personally.
That actually would be me.
Really?
So
Yeah.
I love the Tourings.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a car that like has all the performance but isn't like as flashy as it really is, and then like you just go and surprise, a little bit of a sleeper, you know, surprise people.
The main thing that's made me feel like 911 owners look down on 718s is because they're like, they don't look at me at stoplights. Like, they won't even acknowledge that I'm there. And it happens every time. Like, I've never seen a 911 give me a thumbs up.
Wow.
But like when I'm driving one of my friend's Turbo S's, it's like everybody's like, sick, dude. And sometimes it's the same people, like I'll recognize them. It's like, it's just about the car you're in. So I think they are like deep down, like the people that are Porsche people that don't go to the shows and stuff are very like classist about like the 718 versus the 911. But the people that go to the shows are pretty flexible in terms of talking to everybody.
Maybe they're just a little jealous that your car sounds better than theirs.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is that the Porsche community is kind of like a fine wine. It takes time for you to understand its complexity.
Perhaps,
sure.
but in general, like I think the general point between us two also is that it's not as prohibitively expensive as you might think it is to get into this Porsche experience.
I just can't bring myself to sell that Porsche. Like, I paid for it in full when I bought it. It was like 25 grand out the door. And I could probably get the same amount for it now. It hasn't really depreciated much. It's at the bottom of that curve. Sure, 25 grand would be great to invest in whatever, but I just can't seem to like get rid of it unless someone's willing to pay more than it's worth, because it's worth more to me. So it's kind of a weird feeling for me that I haven't had before. Like, I don't want to let it go. I want other people to experience what I experience with it, which is why I let them borrow it and take it out and stuff like that.
It's almost like a first love.
Yeah, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong also, but I feel like you, because you've had so many good experiences, also because the car is going to last, you know, you can continue owning this car cheaply and like enjoying it, right? It's not going to cost you that much to keep it in your garage versus like one of my friends, the Canyon Carver, he has an Alfa and Alfa Giulia Quadrifoglio. Car I was really interested in also.
Me too.
It's a really, really cool car. And like he got it a few months ago, and according to his social media, he's been having a lot of issues with it. Sadly, you know, and like it looks like an amazing car to drive, but the anxiety of like something going wrong or not knowing what is wrong with my car or any of those kinds of things are things that like I don't really have to worry about with my particular Porsche. Obviously, there are also Porsches that have issues, like 996s have an IMS bearing issue. So like that's kind of like something that maybe if I had a 996, I'd be worrying about that, you know, but with my car, it's just so reliable. It's
also cheap enough to kind of just say goodbye to if you need to. Like under 20 grand, it's like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
If your main car, like your $100,000 car, could blow up at any given moment and you couldn't replace it, like you shouldn't have that car. That's what everybody says. If you can't afford to replace it tomorrow, like you shouldn't have it.
So that being said, do you recommend people to get into the Porsche community?
If you love it, do it. I mean, you're not going to go wrong. Worst case, you buy the car, you sell it for what you paid for it. You're not going to lose money on any of the Porsches under $100,000.
That's a huge draw.
Yeah.
So Nate, would you recommend people to get into the Porsche community?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it opens a lot of doors, especially, I guess, if you're trying to make connections in the car community. I think getting into the Porsche community opens a lot of doors. If you already have a lot of friends, a good group of people to drive with all the time, maybe just get a Miata. You know, I think a car like the Miata, I mean, you and I both being ND owners, formerly on my end, I think we both understand that, like, after having driven so many cars, like, a Miata 9 times out of 10 delivers, like, the fun and the driving experience that, like, that you need on the road, at least, you know? No regrets, obviously, on my Porsche, but I feel like you don't necessarily need to get the car for the community, if that makes sense.
Got it. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all of your insights and experience today. I learned a lot from both of you, and I feel like you guys are making me want a Porsche right now. you guys are making me want to experiment a little bit more. So what I'm going to do when I go home tonight is to look at the price of a 3RS or maybe even a Lamborghini. So I just can't decide. That's my only problem right now. But anyway, I'll report back to you all what I decide on. Thank you for listening. Sociology of Cars podcast is produced by Sociology of Everything, supported by 0 to 60 Studios in San Dimas, California. This is your host, Jimmy XAE. We'll see you next time.